past couple of years, I've used and collected many different types of lettering pens, so I thought I'd help make a review video to help you decide which ones are best for you. So let's jump in. Alright, so my first page is all about brush pens. Now, brush pens aren't the only type you can use for lettering. You can use gel, fine tip, felt pens, anything really. So the first one's about brush pens, but the rest are really about different types of gel pens because that's my preferred type of lettering pen. So the first one I use is the Ecoline brush pen. You can take a look at this here. The tip is pretty big. However, it's still firm, so it gives you that control when you're writing. And I would say that the pros are that it's pretty smooth when you're writing. It's very vibrant and bold, as you can see right here. And it does have a firm brush for its size, which is nice. The cons is it does tend to bleed through paper. As you can see, if you do it a little too heavy, it might come through the back. And it's easy to overlap the letters because that just comes naturally with a bigger brush. Now, I looked on Amazon and you can get a pack of 25 of these, or sorry, 10 of these for 25 or 15 for 35. I ended up buying these individually because I found these in a little shop in Italy on my honeymoon. So I only have a couple, but if you're interested in buying a larger pack, they definitely have them available on Amazon. So the next brand I want to talk about is Sheffield Crafts, which is a dual brush pen. So it's brush on one end and then fine tip on the other. You can see this is the lettering I was able to do with this type of pen. It looks like this. On one end is a brush that's pretty large, actually larger than the Ecoline. And on the other end is a fine tip marker, a little bit bigger than fine tip, but still pretty small. Now, I would have to say that this is probably my least favorite type of brush pen, just because it's not firm at all for its size, so it's really hard to control when you're trying to make the different movements of lettering. And the ink is also very heavy, so it doesn't bleed through as much, but it feels heavier when you're writing, and I'm just not a fan of that. It does have a lot of nice and fun bright colors, and it's always a bonus to have a dual tip. I would say they're probably great for coloring larger pictures if you're trying to decorate a poster or something, but maybe not as much for precise lettering. Alright, so next on my paper we have Crayola's signature dual brush pens. So the color specifically used for this one, if you like it, is the Carnation Pink. It is dual tip, like I said, so on one side we have the brush, which is slightly smaller than the Ecoline and the Sheffield Crafts one. And then on the other side is an even finer tip pen. Okay, so the pros, you get lots of fun bright color options again, and the dual pen is nice. I would say this pen isn't as nice as the Sheffield ones, just because I think it doesn't have as long as a lifespan and the ink concentration isn't quite as heavy. And then con tip is that it's slightly inconsistent ink flow. So you can see in my Crafty Traveling Teacher here, it's not as smooth. Some areas are definitely lighter than others. And it doesn't glide as smoothly. I think the glide of our lettering pens are really important. So this is a really great budget pen, I would say. You can find them on Amazon, 32 of them for about 15. So in that 32 pack that I got, it actually comes in a tin, which is nice. And here's some of the different colors that you can get. Okay, the lighter side, these clear sides are where the pens are, and the non-clear opaque sides are where the brush pen is. So that is another option for you. Next is what I would say a pretty common lettering brush pen. It is the Tombow, and you can see in this example right here, I just used their standard black one. I like these because their tip is much smaller. The brush is a lot finer. Now, what I did next to each of these is I drew a line, the heaviest I can make it and the thinnest I can make it, just to give you a comparison. So you can see here, 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 and here. So obviously the Tombow is significantly smaller. It does have a small stiff brush, and then it's good for transitioning strokes. So I would say out of all the ones I've talked about so far, the Tombow definitely has the smoothest transition between letters. So if you're looking to write in cursive, this is definitely the one to use. It can be a bit more pricey, so keep that in mind. And it's kind of scratchy. Like I said, I really like that flow in your writing, but this one, it feels a little scratchy on the paper. It still glides well, but it's scratchy. And it also doesn't bleed through, which is a bonus. So These don't have as many fun colors in my opinion. Here's some of the ones I do have. Now they do sell them in like neon packs and other types of packs. I haven't gotten those yet, but here's the standard colors. They're still pretty, but not as vibrant and fun as some of the other options you can get. This is just a solid, reliable one to have in your collection. You can get about 10 of these for $15 on Amazon, or if you want like a more specialized pack like the neon ones I mentioned, that's going to be around $7 for 6 of those. Again, prices vary, but that's what I found so far in my research. Now that brings us to our lash brush pen, which is my newest one and also my new favorite. It's the Lay Pen Flex. So it comes in a pack like this. Okay, I got this type, but they also have lots of other colors you can find on Amazon. These were at Hobby Lobby. I would say so far with what I've seen, the prices at Hobby Lobby are pretty in line with what I saw on Amazon. However, Hobby Lobby also has sales, often a 40% off, so if you go at the right time, and if you're patient about it, which I never am, then you can probably get these at some sort of discount. So, the reason I like these is because the brush end is even smaller. This is probably the smallest one I've ever found, and I prefer smaller ones for more control and more detail. Okay, so you can see in the lines overall, they're pretty similar for the Tombow and the Lay Pen. However, this one's slightly smaller and gives you slightly more control. So pros, unique and vivid color options. I've never seen brush pens with the colors that the Lay Pen come in, which is nice. They have a firm tip, the smallest brush I've ever found. Great for details, mid-range price, which is nice, and they draw right on smoothly. One of the cons is that you need more force on the downstroke, which is only natural when it comes with a small brush. I'd hardly even say that's a con. So it's just a matter of what you're looking for. Are you looking for large lettering, or are you looking for more precise small lettering with fun colors? So that's what I have for brush pens. Now we're going to move on to the other types of lettering pens, which I absolutely love to use. Now, one thing I did forget to mention before we move on is Lay Pen. Both in Hobby Lobby and on Amazon, you can get roughly 6 of them for $10, but like I said, keep an eye out for coupons at Hobby Lobby. Or you can get 10 for about $16 on Amazon. So overall, pretty fair price for these good pens. Alright, so the next type of pen I would like to talk about is the Jelly Roll. This is probably one of my favorite gel pens. So, with Jelly Roll, in this example I give you right here, these are all colors from the Moonlight collection. They have all different types of colors, which is another really good perk of Jelly Roll. But for the Moonlight collection, these are the different colors you can get. Okay, they're more subtle, more subdued, but they're also very pretty. And they're pretty true to color on the paper, which is what I like, because some pens are definitely not. So we have these colors, and then these are the other ones that I didn't actually write out as an example. They glide very, very smoothly, and they have good ink flow, which are 2 really important things for lettering. And like I said, they have lots of color options. So here's the Moonlight collection, but they have all different types of collections with different colors. Cons is that they can be pretty pricey for what you get. So I would say it's worth it sometimes, but you can definitely find cheaper alternatives if you need to. Now they also have these, which is originally how I discovered them. So these are white Jelly Roll pens. They come in different tip sizes, and they're really great for darker papers. If you need to highlight something, make a shadow, anything like that, these are really, really good to have. So just so you know, standard pen tip, but they flow really, really well and they glide smoothly. Okay, for the other colors, you can see it's the same exact look. Alright. So, with Jelly Roll, the Moonlight collection that I showed you, all of these colors right here, you can get for about $13. You can also get about 5 specialty colors for around $9 on Amazon, but I saw a lot of prices that vary, so just take some time to look before you purchase. Alright, so next on my list is U-Brands. U-Brands is what I actually discovered at Target. It comes in a pack like this. I've actually yet to find any other form of U-Brand gel pens, not in this container, not in the 30 count, so I think this might be one of their only options for gel pens. That being said, it's a really good option. So if you open it up, take these scrap papers out. Okay, it comes with 30 pens. One side is solid, the other side is glitter. They flow really well. They have vibrant and diverse colors, and they're pretty affordable. I got this pack of 30 for $15. Okay, so it's about 50 cents a pen, but it's worth it because I've paid more for gel pens that don't work as well as these. Like I said, 15 for 30 at Target. I also found them 15 for 30 in Amazon, but I don't think you can find them anywhere else. I'm pretty sure they're pretty specific to Target. Let me know if I'm wrong. I've only found one pack for this brand. It's really the only con. I actually really like this type. So if you take a look, here's the different colors it comes in. The video may not do a great job in showing the shine. Okay, but you can see I used the green shimmer one for teacher and the blue shimmer one for crafty. Okay, definitely a great option, and I just love how much the ink flows. So after that, we go to Paper Studio. So Paper Studio isn't really a gel pen, it's more of a marker, which is okay because I like using markers for lettering too. So this is what I have for Paper Studio fine line markers. Paper Studio, I'm pretty sure is unique just to Hobby Lobby. It's a brand you're only going to find in Hobby Lobby, which is good and bad. Okay, so it's bad that you can't find it on Amazon really, but it's great in that Hobby Lobby usually is 40% off to Paper Studio, so go at the right time and you can get it 30 markers for $8 instead of 15. So that's really good. I of course wasn't patient, had to pay 15, but even then 15 is not bad for 30 markers. So you can see these are dual tip. Okay, one side is a very fine tip, which I appreciate, and the other side is marker. So it's not going to be flexible like a brush pen would be, which is okay to have a non-flexible marker in your hand lettering collection. So if you take a look, alright, so Paper Studio, this is what the marker comes out. So it is a marker, but it's also a pretty fine tip marker, so you can still get those pretty detailed lines. And then below it, I wrote what the fine line tip marker on the other side looks like. So you can see you get a pretty thin and a pretty thick version, both from the same pen, which is nice. Here's the different colors I sketched out from the pack. That's all 30 colors, including these. So lots of different colors. They're pretty bright and fun. I like the options. And honestly, I don't have any cons for these right now. They're pretty new to my collection, but I've used them quite a bit already, and I love them. Moving on to the next one is our Papermate Flare pen. So now we're going to talk a little bit about felt pens for a second. Felt pens are nice for lettering. They don't glide as smoothly, but they provide lots of color options, and the tip size is pretty nice for lettering. So let me show you my collection. Now, they come in other colors than this, believe it or not. So it's one of the reasons I like Papermate Flare pens is there's lots of color options, but these are the ones I have in my collection right now. So these are my favorite go-to teacher pens, or Flare pens. I'd say it's a mid-sized tip. It's slightly bigger than the fine side of the Paper Studio one, like you can see right here, but you can still get it pretty fine in your lettering. Alright, so you can see this is the example I wrote out for the Flare pens, and then these are the different color options I have. That being said, you can definitely find more color options than what I have. That's one of the perks. But these are the ones from my collection. Lots of colors to choose from. You can find it at multiple stores, so this one's not exclusive to any store. It's pretty common to find. They're slightly pricey for the quality, I would say, and they don't glide well because they're not technically a gel pen, they're more of a felt pen. So it just depends on what you're looking for. They're not my favorite or my go-to for lettering, but they're definitely good to have. Now, that being said, with them being pricey, you can get about 24 for $24, 12 for $13 on Amazon. Prices fluctuate depending on stores, coupons you can find. However, you're probably going to spend about $1 per pen in any pack that you're given. But if you're looking for a similar style felt pen but don't want to pay the price, I found these. Okay, so these are called Pen & Gear Ultrafine. These are a Walmart brand felt pen that have a similar look to Papermate. If you compare, here's our Pen & Gear, here's our Papermate. So overall similar look. If you open them both up, the Pen & Gear one actually has a slightly finer tip, so it gives you more control. They're a lot more budget friendly. You can get about 10 of them for $5 or 24 for $14, so you're probably spending around 50 cents per pen versus $1. You can tell, I mean, the quality is definitely slightly less in that the colors are not true, so they go on a lot darker than they appear on the actual pen, which I'm not crazy about, but they still consistent ink, so that's a plus. Definitely something to consider if you're looking for a more budget-friendly option. I would say the differences aren't so significant where they would impact your work. Other than, of course, the darker colors. It just depends on the colors you're looking for. So here's the different colors I have. There may be more. I got a pack of 14. They may have other colors I'm not sure about, but that's what you would get if you got the pack of 14. They do feel a little scratchy when writing, but again, that just comes with a budget pen. Alright, moving on to the last page. So the next one I'm going to talk about, I think, has become pretty popular in the last year or so. So it's the Zebra Mildliner. It's actually kind of a highlighter and pen versus a lettering pen, but you can make anything a lettering pen if you know how to use them right. So with the Mildliner, one side is truly that, just a highlighter. It does have a boxy shape, which makes it slightly more challenging when you're trying to make the curvy letters, but still manageable. And on the other side, you have a fine tip marker. So one of the reasons I love these is because of the dual tip. So they have very similar colors. That means you can create a really awesome shadow effect. So if you move these to the side, you'll notice how each of my letters has a slightly darker edge to them, giving it kind of like a shadowy effect. That's because the pen tip and the highlighter tip are so close in color that you get a really cool effect like this, and that's part of the reason I like it. So the pack that I got has all of these colors, plus these. The dual tip with matching colors makes for a great shadow effect. Like I said, it doubles as a highlighter for the office, so anytime you can have a multi-purpose tool in your craft room, that's awesome. They are expensive. The highlighter's boxy, so it's hard to make the rounded letters. You can see in some areas I kind of struggled with that. It's just a matter of practicing. And it's easier to have color inconsistencies with a highlighter. If you accidentally hit one area twice, it's automatically going to be darker. So it's definitely easier, you can see in my work here, to get a lot more color inconsistencies, but again, with more practice you can get that right. So another good tool to have. In the pack that I got, I paid about $17 for $15. That's what it is on Amazon right now, but if you look around you might be able to find them cheaper. Okay, these are the colors you get, and that's how they show up on the paper, so another good option to have. The next one I've listed is Sharpie. Now, Sharpie has so many different color options. I have pastels, I have regular bold colors in my collection, but the reason I specifically listed Sharpie is for their metallics pack. I love their metallics pack because it adds a special shine to any lettering that you're doing. You can even create a shiny shadow effect with your letters. So I've definitely used these quite a bit. You can see it has like a silver, gold, red, blue, and even a bronze. I didn't use that one, but that's what the bronze would look like. Okay, and they have a nice subtle shine to them when the light hits them, right? They add shine to your work. They can be drawn on thick or thin. What I like about these, so here's what the markers themselves look like. So this is what the tip looks like, just standard Sharpie marker, but it's pretty pointy at the top, so if you work at it, you can get a pretty fine line still. Then, the cons are it's expensive. Sharpies are just really expensive, and they're smelly. And for shine, they have limited colors. Like the ones you're looking at here are pretty much the only metallics I've found so far. Obviously, they have a wide range of colors that are non-metallic, but for metallic, this is what you got. And like I said, they're pretty stinky to use, especially if you're using them for a long period of time. I don't personally like the smell of Sharpie, so just a preference, I guess. But Sharpie metallics, you can get 6 for $9 to $16. I couldn't find a precise price on Amazon, so do your research, see if you can get them cheaper than $16. Looks like the lowest I found is $9 so far. And that's for the pack of 6 metallics. Alright, 2 more to go. So these are the Staedtler pens. I could be saying that completely wrong. I think their origin is in Germany. These are a really nice option to have. This is probably the finest tip in my collection. Okay, so that's what the tip's gonna look like. Actually, all of the blue writing you've seen on my paper so far has been done by this type of pen. So they're great for writing things out. They're a little harder for lettering just because the tip is so fine. If you want to make thicker letters, you have to go over it quite a few times. But I like doing it that way, so it's just a preference. They're good for small detailed work. They have multiple colors, so these are all the colors that came just in one pack. They have consistent ink flow, they're reliable. They're pricey, but like I said, they're a good quality pen that you can rely on. So I would say they're worth the price. They do limit you to smaller letters. They don't glide really well because they're not a gel pen, but that's okay. We can't expect that with non-gel pens. And if you take a closer look, these are the colors you can expect. So we've got these, and then these are the other ones that I didn't write. They may offer different colors, I believe they do, but that's from my specific pack. And that brings us to our last type of lettering pen, which is going to be another Papermate. However, this Papermate Inkjoy. Okay, it looks like this. Okay, so make sure Papermate actually has two different types of Inkjoy pens. This is the gel pen, so this is what I recommend. So here's our Papermate Flare, here's our Papermate Gel. Okay, so they glide really smoothly and they have really good ink flow, so this is a really good option for gel pens. The colors on paper appear darker than the pen itself, which I'm not a big fan of, and it's easy to have inconsistent shades with these because it truly is a pen tip. So it's harder to get a consistent color throughout unless you continue to go over and over it. I do like the colors that they have. Like I said, these are the colors that I had in my pack. However, just be aware that while they appear lighter in my hand, they will appear significantly darker on the paper. Okay, so here's the colors we have. So for example, this color right here is a pretty bright, like pink fuchsia color, but this is how it shows up on the paper. So it's still a pretty color, but it's definitely darker than what you would expect given the color of that side of the pen. Here's some of the other colors that are provided in the pack. Slightly darker. That's just because honestly the ink flow is so heavy that it comes out more than you would expect as you're writing. So if you learn how to control it a little better, then you might be able to get it to look slightly lighter. However, I've been lettering for a while and this is what I've been able to come up with. Okay, so those are all the pens that I have. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment or go to my blog. And happy lettering.